Good morning. Yesterday we had such a great day in church as we started our sermon series, St. Luke's on Broadway. It was inspired by the idea that St. Luke's first building 130 years ago was at 3rd and Broadway here in Oklahoma City. And we've talked about how we have been proclaiming the values of Christ, looking at our faith for 130 years that originally started here on Broadway. And since we love the arts at St. Luke's, we thought maybe we should look at some musicals every year that are playing on Broadway and see about the values of our faith that are still being proclaimed from Broadway and what we do right here now every year at St. Luke's. Yesterday was such a great day. We had such incredible music with Kaylee and Rodney up in Edmond campus and with Aaron and with Tamar downtown. And there were such crowds. There was something so special about standing and singing our hymns together and worshiping. It was such a wonderful crowd of people as we came back together. I hope you enjoyed it if you were in worship or if you were getting to be online and seeing what was going on. We were looking at Phantom of the Opera. And when we looked at Phantom, we really looked at this scene where it was the Phantom when he had his mask pulled off that was hiding what he felt was so grotesque that he was really crying out, I don't want to look like this. I don't want to be this way. I just want to be loved. And I said, that's the human condition. We all wear a mask because we don't feel good enough to be loved. We don't feel like we are special. And so we don't want other people to see that because we feel like if other people know who we are, then they won't love us. It really was this situation with the woman at the well. We looked at the scripture of the woman at the well and how she didn't feel good about herself. We know that because she would come in the heat of the day to draw water. Everyone else would come early in the morning or late in the evening. But it's in that moment that she confronts Jesus. And so often in our lives, that's when we can come to know Christ, when we're not feeling good about ourselves and when we're grieving, when we don't want people to see behind our mask. In the end, the woman will go into town and tell them, he told me everything I ever did. That's the key line, because she was then able to know, in spite of the fact he could tell her everything she ever did, he still treated her with respect and dignity, and she felt loved by Christ. It's when you and I are willing to take off our mask, when we're willing to be able to know we're loved by Christ, that things can begin to change. Now, I can just tell you that theme is something we're going to look at in every single one of the musicals this year, because that is a reoccurring thread through all of them, all of our musicals. This week we're looking at Matilda. The next week will be 9 to 5. The next week, Hunchback of Notre Dame. The next week, Sound of Music. And the next week, we'll be ending with Beauty and the Beast. That theme that we have started with on Phantom is going to be through all of our musicals. Matilda, you may remember the story as much from the movie with Danny DeVito and with Mara Wilson. That came out a number of years ago, and then they came back and wrote the music to it. It originally was just a movie. They wrote it as a musical years later, and earlier this year, we have now performed it here at St. Luke's with our own children. Well, this week, our children who starred and just were so super are going to be singing those roles of the children in Matilda. But in Matilda, we're going to be reminded that when a baby is born, you look at that baby and you say, it's a miracle. And we look at a baby and think it is so beautiful, a gift from God. And as the baby begins to grow, then the world starts telling that baby, well, you're not smart, you're dumb, you're making something wrong, you're doing badly. A child gets all this negative feedback from around the world, and it's why we start hiding behind a mask. And then we do start making mistakes. We do fail, and we begin to feel unworthy. So how do we experience that gift of God's grace? How do we reclaim knowing that we are a special creation in this world, a gift from God. We're going to be looking at this Sunday as we celebrate Matilda and look at this message about the importance of the gift of God's grace. I hope as you and I go to work and live throughout this week, we're going to be reminded that truly we are a miracle from God, and He will love us when He knows us fully, and you and I can go out and be who we are and celebrate this gift of life. Have a great day.